My name is Peter Smoley. I'm the CEO of AnalyticsCreator, and my colleague Dimitri Sorokin will present today new features in AnalyticsCreator. So we focus more today on this new feature, which is called a new connector for exporting data from data warehouse to many target systems. So we have no other special name for this connector, but yeah, it's just a destination export. Yeah, you will see. Yeah, I also introduce Biljana, our new marketing woman. She's responsible for the whole process in marketing and yeah, everything about this.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Peter.
Okay.
Yeah, something will work. I go now in the presentation mode. Oh, well, it didn't work. Oh, now it works. Okay. So I give you now a really very short introduction about AnalyticsCreator, because the most of you know already AnalyticsCreator and just want to know the new functionality. So we have more time to see what we have done. So in general, explained in a nutshell, what AnalyticsCreator is doing. AnalyticsCreator is a data warehouse automation technology, and it's made special for experts, and also it's made also for non-experts. It's possible to generate source code and instead of programming manually. AnalyticsCreator orchestrates the full life cycle of a data warehouse, of a data mart, and also of a data lake. It contains the development process, the design process, the maintenance process, change process, and also the deployment. AnalyticsCreator replaces old-fashioned ETL technologies, and it's up to 10 times faster and has less costs, of course. About the use cases of AnalyticsCreator, yeah, one of the most cases, of course, it's the green field. If there is nothing in place, you have to construct a new data warehouse. So it's very easy to use AnalyticsCreator. And the most often case is if there is something in place. Many companies around, I would say at least more than 50%, which have something in place to modernize the existing data warehouse structure. There are many reasons why to modernize existing data warehouse. It's about the lack of performance. Maybe it's also about new requirements of the management and new requirements of IT. It's possible to re-engineer the architecture and also to use a new modeling approach. Yeah, if you come from a dimensional modeling approach, you can now use additional data vault. You can automatically skip from dimensional Kimball model to data vault model. This is possible. And also it's possible to do something like reverse engineering. So we can use your old code, yeah, not anytime. So in the most cases, it's possible to use the code and also to implement it in the new architecture. Yeah, this of course cannot be done really automatically, but yeah, with some additional programming, there is automation possible. Yeah, many customers of us have a SAP as a source, and there are really nice special functionalities for the pick up data of SAP sources, also metadata, and create analytical platforms on Azure and also on premises. It's also very often used to shift from an on-premise data warehouse to the cloud. Yeah, AnalyticsCreator help you with this. and it's much more faster and easier. It's also possible to use AnalyticsCreator to build a real-time, near real-time data platform. This is also working, for example, for if you have a dynamics navigation system, AX system. This is a very good approach with this. And it's also interesting for partners. Partners are able to do managed service with a lot of different customers, and also of customers which use the same ERP system. There are many nice functionalities to support this approach. About our vision, this is something you should know. It's all about independence. This is a very important asset for us, which we want to give to the customer. So you must understand that AnalyticsCreator is a pure design time tool. So it's just generating source code, and the source code you place in the Microsoft environment, and you don't need AnalyticsCreator while at the runtime. The runtime, you need nothing. It's just the source code. So it's possible to just generate something, and after the subscription ends with AnalyticsCreator, also the data warehouse will run. If you compare this to some competitors, this is not possible. They need always a runtime, and they need always a paid subscription license. And with AnalyticsCreator, this is not necessary. You have in AnalyticsCreator a holistic metadata model, which contains the business view and also the data model view. And this together is independent from the techniques in behind. So if you use, for example, SQL Server on-premise, or if you use Azure something, SQLDB or Azure Synapse in the future, it's always the same holistic data model. And also if Microsoft skip in some years to another technology, it's always the same holistic data model. And we generate the target source code which you like. So you don't have to decide at the beginning, do I use a data warehouse on premise, or do I want to use it in the Azure cloud? It doesn't matter in the most cases. And this is a really nice approach. When you want to modernize something, you modernize just the model, but not the technique, not the technique behind. This is nice. As you already heard, we focus 100% on the Microsoft stack. This is why we use every feature you can imagine on the Microsoft environment. You get the best results for the environment, because we're just only doing this and nothing different. And also you have an open repository. This means that where the holistic data model is stored, then you can add your own ideas there. You can extend it, and you can read out from this model and do something separately. You can generate some other different target system. For example, we have a partner who wrote the generator using MariaDB as a target. This is also possible. But we focus on Microsoft technologies. And now, today, we show you how it works if you want to use the data in the data warehouse, which you have designed and developed and loaded with AnalyticsCreator, to use somewhere outside. So Dimitri will explain it now. So this is my part, a really short one. Now I want to give the token to Dimitri.
Okay.
So how it works. Thank you.
Continue. Thank you. Let me present the screen. Just one moment.
Well, I hope you can see my screen. Peter, can you confirm, please?
I see your screen.
Then let me start AnalyticsCreator. And today I will show you some new features in AnalyticsCreator, which we developed last time. And the main feature is the data export. Usually you import the data into your data warehouse and you transform the data and create maybe the data mart layers which you can use later in your reports. But sometimes you have to export the data from your data warehouse into external databases or into maybe text files or into the blob storage, for example, and now you can do it automatically using AnalyticsCreator. Let me create the new data warehouse. Call the model test export. Now I will prepare. I'm creating the new repository which will contain the definition of our data warehouse, and we'll create the data warehouse, and then I will try to export some data from this data warehouse into, for example, into text files. Okay, and how it can be done, I will show you now. Okay, and now we have the empty model, and my computer I have a database, AdventureWorks 2019. This is a demo database of Microsoft, and I will create new data warehouse based on this database. I'm creating a connector to this database. This is the connector of the type SQL Server. We support different kind of connectors. You can see them here. SQL Server, Oracle, and different text files, OLEDB, OLEDB, SAP. We can read the metadata directly from SAP. Azure Blob Storage, and the new version supports for data sources too. But in our case, I will use SQL Server database as data source. Well, and now I am starting the data warehouse wizard, and using this wizard, I can very briefly create the new data warehouse. I will take some tables from human resources schema, we'll import them, historize them, create the dimensions and some facts from some tables. Well, okay, and finish. Now AnalyticsCreator analyzes the structure of our data source and preparing the draft model of the data warehouse. Okay, here we can see such draft model. Okay, we already showed that in our other presentations, but very briefly from links to the left, so you can see from left to the right, you can see this layer diagram. First, you can see the data sources, the source table, then the staging layer containing the tables where the data will be imported into. Persistent staging layer containing the historized data. We import the data and then historize them. Core layer containing the transformations, usual transformation in AnalyticsCreator. This is a view, and here you can see how using view we convert the imported data into the facts and dimensions. And on the right side, you can see the data mart layer containing the facts and dimensions. And later, when we create the OLAP cubes, for example, tabular OLAP cubes or multi-dimensional OLAP cubes, or maybe Power BI models or Tableau or Click models, we can use the structure of our data mart layer and repeat the structure in our follow-up cubes, for example. Maybe a little bit more about the components which were created here. For example, to define the import, we will generate integration service packages or Azure pipelines. And here you can see the definition of such SQL integration service package. This is the definition of the data import. You can see here the mapping between the source and target columns. You can add here different filters. You can see use the variables, for example, to define the differential data import, to restrict maybe the data which you will import. You can define different scripts which can be started before and prior and after data import. About historization, you can very widely configure the historization of the data. You click on HP square on the left of the historization table. You can see here the definition of historization. Our historization can be configured very, very fine. For every field in the table, we can define the historization type of the specific field. We support typical slow changing dimension tools. It means full historization. CD1 means no history of the specific field will be stored, but the actual field value will be actualized. Anyway, as I said, you can very widely configure the historization process and to historize the data we generate storage procedures, and the text of the storage procedure you can see here. And if necessary, if you will, you can even modify the text of the storage procedure. Therefore, you can modify it for your own wishes if you have them, but usually it is not necessary. Usually the procedures which we generate are very good, they work very quick, very efficiently. Then core layer, as I said, here in core layer you can see the different transformations. For example, this one, this is transformation to create the dimension department. You can see the definition of the transformation, but the transformation itself for SQL Server, this is the view generated by AnalyticsCreator automatically based on this definition. You can see there is only one table participating in this transformation, and every column from this table is exposed in this view. And okay, nothing specific. But let's take a look on the fact transformation. For example, this one, this is like set the filter. When I set the filter, I see only the object depending on this object or the objects which this object depends on. Okay, objects related to this specific transformation, and we can see this is a fact transformation AnalyticsCreator created for us. And we can see here the different tables like employee department history and department shift. And AnalyticsCreator recognized that there are relationships between employee department history and other tables. And based on this information, AnalyticsCreator created for us this fact transformation, combining the data from different tables. Very important is every table here is a historized table, and it is pretty difficult to combine or to join the historized tables together, because for every primary key in the historized table we can have several data rows, several versions of the same data row. And to manage, to join such tables, we use a specific historization type, snapshot. If you take a look on this view, you can see that here is a table called snapshots. This table contains at least one data row with the actual date, and then for from every historized table which we join, we get the data which are valid for specific snapshot date using this where condition, join condition snapshot date between .phone hist.bhist. This is the validity period of specific data row, and therefore first we get from every table we join only the data which are valid for specific snapshot date, and then we join the tables together. When we have only one data row with actual date in the snapshot table, this fact transformation will contain only the actual data, but we can add more snapshots to the snapshot table. For example, until last month, until the May, April, March, and so on. And using this snapshot dimension, we can create additional time axis, and use this snapshot dimension, because we later can create the snapshot dimension to obtain the old versions of our data, not only the actual values, but the old versions, the previous versions of our data. Sometimes using this snapshot dimension, you can provide your data warehouse with timeline dimension, with calendar dimension, without where is no timeline at all. This is like the additional timeline. Okay, very well. On the right side, you can see the data mart layer. I'm sorry because for this sound, there are some worker working in my home, therefore can be pretty noisy, but let's continue. Okay, let me add something more. I will add the persisting. I will persist, for example, this transformation is pretty complex, and to speed up access to the data in this transformation, I can persist it. Let me add some persistings. Okay, there's one. Okay, I will add some more persistings. That's one, and here two. Add persisting. This is another data brick in AnalyticsCreator, the possibility to persist the data in the transformation, because this fact employee department history, this is the view, and to speed up access to this view, we can persist the data in this view. That means we store the data from this view in this table, and the persisting will be done in the persisting package or persisting pipeline in case of Azure Data Factory, and we support different ways to persist the data. You can see them here. Full persisting means the persisting table will be okay. All data will be deleted from persisting table, and the persistent table will be filled up with the new data. We support different ways to. Okay, we can. There is a merge persisting, incremental persisting, and so on. Different ways how to persist the data, and to persist the data, we generate the storage procedure, and the storage procedure will be executed to persist the data. Well, but this is what we show in every transformation, in every presentation, and now I will show you some new functionality we support now. For example, I will export the data from this view, from this object team department. This is the view in data mart layer containing the department dimension, and I will export this data into the text file. First, to do that, I have to create the new connector. Add connector, for example, CSV of the type CSV. Okay, here I can define some additional properties for this CSV connector, but I will use default properties. And now I will export the data. I should click on Add Export. Here I should select connector where I will export the data into, CSV in our case. Here I can select either existing object in the target, or if I will, I can create the new object. It is not every time possible. For example, if you will export the data into the database, you cannot create the objects. You should use existing objects because AnalyticsCreator cannot create the objects, the tables, for example, in external database. The table should be already prepared. But if you use, if you will export the data into text files, for example, you can create the text files automatically. And let me create such, for example, department. And here we should add the name of the package where the export will be done. For example, X1. Okay. Here you can see the definition of the export. Mainly the mapping table between the source column and the target column. You can define additional filter here if you wish, but here you can see the new layer in our data warehouse. This is this export layer, and this is our export file, a CSV file where we will export data. Let me add some more exports. For example, I will export our employer department transformation, employee dimension into the table, the data, the file employer using employer. Okay, and for example, we will export the shift table into the table into the shift file CSV. Export, finish. Okay, let me synchronize the VH to refresh the diagram. Okay, yeah, one step there is something more what I have to configure. We should click on department and give there the path where the this file will be stored. Wait a moment. Let me show where I will store my data. For example, let me create a new folder, export, and we will store our files here. Okay. Yeah. CSV. Of course, you can configure later this path using your SSIS configuration table, but initial values I can enter now in the model. And CSV, I think, let me check if I think department, employer, and here shift. CSV. Very well, and now I will generate deployment package, and let's try to create the data warehouse and have to export the data. In this case, today I will not. It is not necessary to create the tabular OLAP model for our demo. Only what we will do is we will create the database, we will create integration service packages, and then, oops, sorry, I forgot deployment. Okay. Demo, test export, invalid deployment name, sorry. Okay, deployment.
Music licensing reimagined.
Payments and deploy. Okay, AnalyticsCreator now is creating the Visual Studio solution containing the deployment package. This is the SQL Server data solution. Will contain integration service packages, and the deckpack file is a definition of our data warehouse. Simultaneously, we deploy this deckpack package, the deckpack file, into the database test export on the server demo, and now you can see test export deckpack file was created, was deployed, and now the packages will be generated. Okay, still waiting a little bit. Okay, let me check if the database was generated. Test export, exactly. This is test export database. Was just created by AnalyticsCreator. You can see there are different tables, team, department, employee, and so on. For data import, tables STG department, STG employee to store historized data, different views containing the transformations, and so on. Okay, the packages are creating, and workflow package will be created. It's very important we create every time, or usually we create the workflow package, and this workflow package should be only executed to execute the whole ETL process. Okay, our deployment package is ready. Let me start Visual Studio and open our project, which we just generated. You can see there is a new directory created right now containing this deployment package. Okay, and this is the Visual Studio solution generated by AnalyticsCreator. As you can see, this is the typical SQL Server Data Tools solution. You can see here the integration service package. The first of the main package is the workflow package, and you can see the content of this workflow package. Workflow package will be used to execute all other packages in correct order. First, the import package will be executed, then the historizing package will be executed, and then simultaneously, parallel, will be executed export package to export the data and persisting package to persist some data. Okay, and if we take a look on other packages, for example, this is the import package. Okay, we import the data from different tables in AdventureWorks database. Every import will be done using own specific container, nothing specific, but let's take a look on the export package. Here you can see there are 3 tables which we export, and every export will be done in the specific container. We log the start of the import, the export. Here we export the data, and then we log the end of the data export. Nothing specific, pretty simple package. And let me start the workflow package, execute package, and I hope it is working. Okay, we can see import is finished, persisting is finished, export is finished, and let me check. Now we have in this export directory which we created 3 new files. Okay, this is a file containing department table, employer table, you can see it, and shift table. Well, pretty easy, but I think it is very powerful new feature in AnalyticsCreator, which you can use now to export the data into. You can use any database to export the data. I mean, any database where ODBC or OLIDB driver can export the data. Unfortunately, I think it is not possible to use SIP to export the data because the mobile connector doesn't support the write operations. It can only read data. But you can use, I don't know, SQL Server, Oracle. You can store the data into the blob storage on Microsoft Azure. You can store the data as text files. You can not only generate integration service packages, but you can, if you work with Azure Data Factory, you can generate Azure Data Factory pipelines to export the data. And as I said, this is very interesting new feature which you can use to export the data. Well, oops, sorry, this is this one. Yes, sorry, this is our project. Okay, there is one more new feature which I will show you today. This is a new OData connector, because for some users it is very important. This new connector, let me show it to you. Wait a moment. I have here, let me take it. I have here the URL of the test OData server or data. This is new feature for data. As I said, we support now OData data sources. This is the Nordwind database located on the OData test server, and now, as I said, you can use such OData data sources to import the data into AnalyticsCreator. Let me show you how it works. Nothing specific, just the same functionality like the other data sources. You can import the data into AnalyticsCreator from OData. Very important, OData can be very good used together with SharePoint, because some of our customers use have SharePoint lists, and usually SharePoint has such OData interface and you can use this OData interface to import the data from SharePoint. Some SIP installations provide OData interface too, therefore it can be useful to import data from SIP. In case you will you don't use, for example, terabyte connector, you can still use OData interface to import the data from SIP. Well, all our data sources working by the same way like all other sources. You can generate integration service packages. You can generate Azure Data Factory pipelines to import the data from our data sources. There's nothing specific which you should take care about. This is the new functionality we developed in the last time, and I hope this functionality can be useful for our customers. If you have questions, I am ready to answer them. Peter, you can continue maybe.
Yeah, I'm here. So, are there some questions about the things what you've seen, or maybe also something else what you want to know? Everything clear?
Well, I think this is
pretty,
pretty simple functionality. You can export everything. You can export not only from data mart layer. You can export every other object in your data warehouse. No problem. You can, as I said, if you export into the text files, it is not necessary to create the text file in advance. You can create new text files during the export. If you export the data into the tables in external database, the tables should be prepared. Tables should be added to the specific connector, and then you can write the data. You can export the data into the existing tables in the external database. Nothing specific, as I said, it's pretty easy, pretty understandable, I think, and try to use it if you need it.
Yeah, you can try it by yourself. If you order a trial version on our webpage, just order this there, and you get everything sent by email, and you can try it out. And of course, if you need some help, we will support you. So this is a way to get in touch with AnalyticsCreator with the latest functionality. Yeah, if there are no more questions, so we can close this session. Thanks a lot of joining us. We will now have in the next couple of weeks, we will have no presentation. The next one in August. This will announced on our webpage in the next week. I think it's the 5th of August or something like this. And the next ones will start in September, October. Then we will have another every second week new sessions. And yeah, I hope you will join us. And don't forget that the 5th of November, no, it's the 10th of November this year, is the AnalyticsCreator Congress. You're welcome to join us too. You can already book a ticket for free on our webpage. This is possible. So yeah, it's really nice that you joined us. And yeah, I wish you a nice weekend, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.
Music licensing reimagined.